So, hello, good day. My name is Erica Pashan from BT2 Crt-Cab, and here's my member. So, our topic for today is all about Rizal BC to the United States 1888 and Rizal in London 1888 to 1889. So, today our group is going to share or to explain why Rizal BC to the United States. So, Rizal saw America on April 28, 1888. His arrival in this great country was marked by racial prejudice. He saw the discriminatory treatment of the Chinese and the Negros by white Americans. So, unang nakita ni Rizal ang Amerika noong Abril 28, 1888, ngunit nabahira ng hindi magandang impresyon ang kanyang pagpunta sa lugar na ito dahil naging tanyag ang di makalupirang pagtrato ng mga puting Amerikanos sa mga Chino at Negros. So, Saturday, April 28, 1888, the steamer Belgic docked at San Francisco. So, dito sumakay siya ng barko sa New York patungong Inglaterra. Ang barkong Belgic ang kanyang sinakyan na dumaong sa San Francisco noong Abril 28, 1888. So, hindi sila pinayagang bumaba ng barko dahil nga sa kumakalat na balita na may pandemya, kolera sa dulong silangan kung saan galing ang mga pasahero ng barko, kaya kwarantita sila ng mga Amerikano o otoridad. So, kapag sinabi nating kwarantita, is ito yung pag-isolate ng mga may sakit sa mga walang may sakit. So, American health authorities did not let the passenger to land for 1 week because of the humored cholera epidemic. Rizal knew there was no cholera epidemic that time, and he protests with other passengers the unjustifiable of American authorities. He soon discovered that it was motivated by politics and the ship was carrying 643 Chinese coolies. So, yung mga Amerikanong konsul at gobernador ng Hong Kong ang mga nagpatunay na walang epidemyang kolera sa lugar na yon. At natuklasan ni Rizal ang tunay na dahilan ng pagkwarantita sa barko ay politika 643 Chino kuling inuukulan ng barko. So, ang mga Chino at Kuli ay nagbubuhat ng mabibigat na bagay dahil gusto nilang ipalit sa mga puting manggagawa para makuha nila ang boto ng puti. Ngunit ipinagliban ng administrasyon ang pagpasok ng mga Chino Kuli dito sa bansang ito, so pagkaraan ng 1 linggo ay nagpakwarantitas ang mga pasaheros na nasa primera klase kasama si Rizal ay pinayagan ng bumaba ng barko. Samantalang ang mga pasaherong nasa segunda at tercera klase kasama ang mga Chino at Hapon ay pinagkwarantitas ng mas matagal na panahon. May 4, 1888, the day he was permitted to go ashore and register at the Palace Hotel, which was then considered a first-class hotel in the city. So, Mayo 4, 1888, Biyernes ng hapon, ang araw na pinayagan na si Rizal ay bumaba ng barko sa Hotel Palace. Siya ay nagparehistro at tinaguriang primera klase hotel. So, noong panahong sinulat niya ang kanyang tala-arawan na ang isang araw sa Hotel Palace ay nagkakahalaga ng $4. Ang address ng Hotel Palace ay sa Kalye Stanford 312. Nakita niya ang Golden, ayon sa kanya ang pinakamalaki at maganda sa San Francisco. So, nabanggit din ni Rizal si Leland Stanford, ang milyonaryong senador na kinatawanan ng California. Sa estado na ito, siya ang tagapagtatag at tagapagtustos ng Universidad ng Stanford. Naisulat niya rin ang kalye doon sa Chinatown na ngayon ay tinatawag ng Avenida Grand.
So, hello everyone, this is Miguel, and for today's video is we're going to report about Module 7.1, Rizal's visit to the United States, year 1888. So this is the continuation of report by Ms. Erica Pashan. So let's start. So May 4 to 6, Year 1888, Rizal stayed 2 days in San Francisco. And the president of the United States that time was Grover Cleveland. So, Grover Cleveland po yung president ng United States noong si Rizal ay nasa San Francisco that time. And May 6, year 1888, it was Sunday, 4:30 p.m., Rizal left San Francisco. So umalis na si Rizal sa San Francisco patungo sa Oakland. 9 miles across San Francisco Bay. By ferry boat. So ferry boat, ito po yung ferry boat na sumakyan ni Dr. Jose Rizal patungong Oakland. So in Oakland, he boarded the train for his trip across the continent. And he took his super and Sacramento for 75 cents and slept in his coach. So, May 7, year 1888, it was morning. Rizal awoke and had a good breakfast at Reno, Nevada, now glamorized by American high-pressure propaganda as the biggest little city in the world. So, yung Reno po is the biggest little city in the world. And so, here's the summary of Rizal's travel in America. So, from May 7 to May 13, Rizal wrote in his diary the beautiful memories from Nevada, Chicago, until the rich Albany. So, in Oakland, it was Rizal's first stop by ferry boat, and in Sacramento, it is where he ate his supper, which cost 75 cents, and slept at his coach. And in Reno, Nevada, it was Rizal. He had his breakfast. So, yun nga, sinulat ni Rizal yung mga memories niya kung saan siya magpunta. Kung ano yung mga nakikita niya, kung ano yung naobserbahan niya, is sinusulat niya ito sa diary. Next, so yun, saan siya nagpunta, sinusulat niya ito sa diary, sa kanyang diary.
Hello, this is Angelo Balesa, BTBT from Crt-Cab Branch. On May 4 to May 6, 1888, Dr. Jose Rizal stayed 2 days in San Francisco. After 7 days in quarantine, Rizal was finally allowed to set foot in San Francisco, where he made a point of taking a room at the very prestigious and expensive Palace Hotel. Rizal left San Francisco for Oakland, 9 miles across San Francisco Bay by a ferry boat on May 6, 1888 at 4:30 p.m. On May 7, 1888, Rizal awake to a nice breakfast in Reno, Nevada, which known as the biggest little city in the world because of the American high-pressure promotion. On May 7 to May 13, Rizal wrote in his diary the beautiful memories from Nevada, Chicago until he reached Albany.
Hudson River. The Hudson River, known in Mahican as Muhekunnetuk, flows across the eastern part of New York State and forms the border between New York and New Jersey at its southern terminus. It was discovered in 1609 by Henry Hudson, an Englishman. While traveling to the Netherlands, the area around the river was settled by early Europeans. After the Erie Canal created a link between New York Harbor and the greatest lakes via the Hudson. The Hudson became a key source of transportation and economic development in the United States. Niagara Falls. One of the continent's most iconic sites is Niagara Falls, a pathway on the Niagara River in northeastern North America. The falls are located on the border of Ontario, Canada, and New York, United States for years. The falls were a popular destination for lovers and stunts like rope, walking, and barrel rides over the falls. However, the sites are beauty and uniqueness. A physical phenomena has become increasingly appealing. The falls are divided into two sections. By Goat Island, Horseshoe Falls is the biggest part, which is close to the left or Canadian bank. Its height is 188 feet or 57 meters, and length of it is curving crestline is around 2,000 feet or 670 meters. The right bank's American Falls are 190 feet or 58 meters height and 1,060 feet and 320 meters wide. May 13, 1888, it was Sunday morning when Rizal reached New York. He stayed 3 days in the city, which called the Big Town. May 16, 1888, Rizal left New York for Liverpool on board the City of Rome. Rizal saw the Statue of Liberty on Bedloe Island. The good impression of Rizal, the material progress of the country as shown in the great cities, huge farms, flourishing industry, and busy factories. The drive at the energy of the American people, the natural beauty of the land, the high standard of living, the opportunities for better life offered to poor immigrants. The bad impression Rizal had of America was the lack of racial equality. 1890, 2 years after Rizal visit to the United States, Jose Alejandro, who was then studying engineering in Belgium with him. Rizal's impression of America is the land par excellence of freedom, but only for whites.
To summarize that, Jose Rizal traveled to American continent on May 12, 1888. While on board, he saw the Niagara Falls. Jose Rizal being himself, he stood among the rocks for several hours to examine its beautiful points. Then he certainly realized that it was the grandest cascade he had ever seen. The next day, May 13, 1888, when he woke up, he was near Albany, a big city which runs along the Hudson River. Morning on that same day, Rizal reached the New York, which he called as Big Town. He stayed for 3 days. While in the city, he visited all the scenic and historical places in that city. May 16, he left New York for the Liverpool on board the City of Rome, and according to him, that steamer was the second to the largest ship in the world. While on board, he saw the Statue of Liberty on Bedloe Island. And of course, no country is perfect. Rizal had good and bad impression to USA. The good ones are the material progress of country, as shown in the great cities, huge farms, flourishing industries, and busy factories. 2. The drive and energy of American people. 3. The natural beauty of the land. 4. The high standard of living. 5. The opportunity for better life offered to poor immigrants. And the one and only bad impression he had was the lack of racial equality.
Hi, I'm Myla Pastor, taking Bachelor in Technical Vocational Teacher Education from Crt-Cab. Now I will start my discussion. Rizal in London, 1888 to 1889. Okay, Rizal lived in London, May 1888 to March 1889. So, this is the reason why Rizal chose to stay in London. First is, para ma-improve yung kanyang kaalaman pagdating sa English na lengguwahe. And second one naman is to study and annotate mga sucesos de las Islas Pilipinas. And last one, London was a safe place to him to carry on his fight against Spanish tyranny. And Rizal arrived at Liverpool in England, year 1888, May 24. Life in London of Rizal. Rizal went to London on May 25, 1888. Nagstay si Rizal bilang bisita sa tahanan ni Dr. Antonio Regidor, and Rizal was a boarder of the Becket family, and he met Gertrude Becket. And this is the reason, or this is the bad news came from home. First is the persecution of the Filipino patriots who signed at the anti-friar petition of 1888. Next is persecution of the Calamba tenants, furious attacks on Rizal by Senators Salamanca and Vida in the Spanish Cortes, and Manuel Hidalgo was exiled by Governor General Weyler to Bohol without due process of law. And Laureano Viado was arrested and jailed in Bilibid prison for having a copy of Noli that were found in his house.
News from home. Good news. Reverend Vicente Garcia defends of the Noli against the attack of friars. Rizal heard this good news from Mariano Ponce, so he wrote a letter to Father Garcia expressing his personal thanks. Association La Solidaridad. He was chosen as a honorary president of society. Recognition of his leadership among all Filipinos patriots in Europe. La Solidaridad, Graciano Lopez Haena, February 15, 1889. Graciano founded the patriotic newspaper in Barcelona, Spain. Served as the organ of propaganda movement. La Solidaridad, it aims to work peacefully for political and social reform, to portray the deplorable condition of the Philippines so that Spain may remedy them, to oppose the evil forces of reaction and medialism. It aims to advance liberal ideas and progress, to champion to legitimate aspiration of the Filipino, it life, democracy, and happiness. First article in La Solidaridad, Los Agricultores Filipinos, the Filipino Farmer, March 25, 1889. Romance with Gertrude Becket, oldest of the three Becket